And sorry to interrupt the conversations. We'll have more time for that. At this time, though, I would like to introduce Eagle Scout Jack Bedar from Troop 382 Westborough, who will lead us in the presentation of the colors and the Pledge of Allegiance with scouts from the various Westborough Scouting units, Packs 100 and 3033, Troops 11, 100, and 382, Crew 100, and Explorer Post 85. Jack?
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. With Veterans Day upon us, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize all of our veterans who have served in the armed forces and through their service and sacrifice have allowed us to enjoy living in the greatest nation in the world. Please stand and be recognized. Will the audience please stand and join me for the presentation of the colors in the Pledge of Allegiance. Color Guard, attention. Color Guard, present the colors. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Thank you. You may be seated. Color Guard, post colors. Color Guard, dismissed. Mr. Johnson?
Thank you, Jack. So welcome everybody to the 2022 Westborough Good Scout Award Dinner. My name is Ian Johnson. I have the distinct pleasure of serving as a co-chair of this year's Westborough Good Scout event and the Westborough Good Scout Committee, along with my wife Maureen, seated over here, my better half. And so tonight, as you all know, we are gathered to honor Amber Bock and Karen Henderson, not only for their accomplishments as outstanding public servants, but more importantly for their role as outstanding community leaders. We will also be celebrating Scouting and the outstanding work of our young people. The core mission of Scouting has remained strong, and the program has touched the lives of thousands of youth throughout the community of Westborough and millions of lives across this great nation. The goal of Scouting has always been to build the confidence of young people so they will have the opportunity to practice and implement leadership skills in a safe and positive environment. Many of these young people will take the lessons learned in Scouting and apply them in our businesses and our communities. They are our future leaders of tomorrow. Thank you all for your support tonight. It is truly appreciated. At this time, I'd also like to recognize my fellow committee members that have been working diligently for the past year to make this event a showcase for not only Scouting, but also for the outstanding individuals we are here to honor tonight. I'd like to take a moment now to recognize the committee. They are listed in your booklet, but if I ask the committee members to please stand to be recognized. At this time, it is now my pleasure to introduce Reverend F. Robert Bob Brown, my first Scoutmaster in Scouting here in Westborough, who will provide the invocation for this evening's meal. Jimmy, I can bring the microphone there if you want. If I could ask everyone to please stand.
Let us pray. Ever living and ever loving God, we pause in this remarkable gathering to give thanks to you for all you do to support scouting in this community, and especially to the young women who are honored here tonight. We give you thanks for all that they do to make this a much brighter and better community, and all that scouting does to help young people become better men and women as they move on in life. We give you thanks for this opportunity to gather together to give thanks and for to eat and be able to eat a meal together. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I really feel like a show host here walking around. Either that or it's town meeting time. But I just want to say thank you to our scouts for the opening ceremony. Great job. And Bob, or as I still call you, Mr. Brown, thank you very much for being here and for the invitation. Yep. Amber wants to say. Okay, we're going off script already. This is crazy now.
We always thank the people that are here this evening, and I believe that Bob will not be here at the end of the evening, and so it was very important for Karen and I to make sure that we took a moment to speak about Bob Brown. We've both known Bob for a very long time. He's someone very special, and we were so glad that he could be here with us tonight. In addition to everything he's done for his community throughout the years he's lived here, he's done amazing things with Karen, working to do incredible work with Westborough TV to help to capture so much of our town's history. And she's extremely grateful to the time she was able to spend with him, not just to capture his stories, but to have personal moments with him. Many of you know Bob, and I'm sure it's good to see him here tonight. For me and our family, Bob has always represented the Congregational Church, and we made that our home church. He was, for us, always an example of spiritual faith and depth and meaningful relationships. Whenever we would enter that church, there was a sense of welcome and greeting and spiritual house. And that, for us and our family, was Bob. So I just want to say thank you so much for you being here with us tonight, to Jimmy, his son, and their family.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you, Amber, and thank you, Karen, for that. At this time, I will leave the stage, so please enjoy your dinner, and we have music tonight by the Westborough High School String Quartet. And at this time, we have a few special recognitions and proclamations. But first of all, and I was trying to look for them here, they may be eating right now. I want to thank the Westborough High School String Quartet for the beautiful dinner music. They're eating in the hallway. We should have brought them here. And at this time, I'd actually like, we have our State Representative Hannah Kane here. I'd like to call her forward for proclamation.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? It's so great to see you all here. This is one of my absolute favorite events of the year, and no, I do not say that at every event I go to. I really love to come here. I love the tradition of honoring people who have served scouting and served the community, and I'm really happy to be here tonight to acknowledge and honor two women who I hold in high regard, Karen and Amber. When I was actually first running for state representative, I sat down with Amber and we had a long conversation about education. As the daughter of a school superintendent and a fifth grade teacher, we had a lot to talk about education. And I knew that Westborough was in amazing hands with Amber heading the school system at the time. And Karen was so generous with her time and talking to me about all the amazing things in Westborough and bringing me into the studio and explaining how much fun I was going to have serving Westborough. So I come here tonight. Usually I would be joined here by my colleagues. Many of you know that Representative Danielle Gregoire and former Representative now, Carolyn Dykeman and I have had the honor of representing Westborough together for many years, and that is now changing with the census data and redistricting. So Representative Gregoire could not be here tonight. She extends certainly her best wishes to both Amber and Karen. And Carolyn is no longer a state representative, but when I told her I was coming here tonight, that tonight was a Good Scout Award, she was like, oh, I missed that. And she also wanted to share her best wishes with both of you. And Senator Eldridge couldn't be here tonight as well either. But I am here, and I am very happy to be here. And I think one of the things that's so special about tonight is really the essence of community that just is pervasive throughout Westborough. No matter where you go, you feel those strong bonds of community. And scouting is such an integral part of this community. I loved going to so many of the Eagle Scout ceremonies and seeing the young men and women as they progress through scouting, to see their projects, but also to see the strong support systems that they have. And I have seen Karen and Amber at many of those ceremonies throughout the time that I've had here. So Karen and Amber, I don't know if you could please come up and join me so I can present these two citations to each of you. I would love that. So tonight I bring with me here to acknowledge Amber and Karen citations from the House of Representatives. And I'd like to read them to you. And while some of it is the same, there is a bit that's different. So for the part that is the same, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Amber Bock in recognition of being awarded the Good Scout Award. Your dedication, integrity, and compassionate concern for others is inspiring. We commend you and thank you for your service. And I will give that to you while I read Karen's. And Karen's is in recognition, Karen, of being awarded the Good Scout Award. Your dedication, integrity, and work to keep people connected and informed in Westborough is inspiring. We commend you and thank you for your service. Congratulations. And it says the entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all of your endeavors. And it's signed by Danielle, myself, and the Speaker of the House. And on behalf of not only the delegation, but really all of the community that looks to you two inspiring women, and just thanks each and every day that you're here in this community in Westborough doing the work that you do, and that you do it in such a way that inspires others to want to give back. I really appreciate that. And as somebody who's inspired by both of you, thank you.
So now you know it's time to do a dance. Okay. Actually, now, Hannah, thank you very much for being here on behalf of the delegation, and actually for always being here for this event. This, if I could, again, I'm going to go off script a little bit, but we have a citation from the Select Board here in Westborough. I'd like to ask my fellow Select Board members if they want to come up and join me here as well. They don't know this, so hopefully they're not eating dessert right now. But take them to the side. So we as well have citations from the Westborough Select Board. Citation of recognition on behalf of the town of Westborough and its citizens. We hereby issue this citation to Karen Henderson in recognition of her receiving the 2022 Good Scout Award. Thank you for your service and dedication to the Westborough community. And likewise, we have a similar one for Amber. On behalf of the town of Westborough and its citizens, issuing the citation to Amber Bock in recognition of her receiving the 2022 Good Scout Award. thanking you for your service and dedication to the Westborough community, and signed by the 5 members of the Select Board, myself, Ian Johnson, Vice Chair Sean Keogh, Board Member Alan Edinburgh, Board Member Shelby Marshall, and Board Member Patrick Welch. So congratulations. That was kind of the dance up there. So we also have several guests tonight from the Mayflower Council, Executive Board and staff with us this evening. We have the Mayflower Council CEO and Scout Executive, Brian Feather. Brian, thank you for being here. I'm supposed to say this, but Mayflower Council President Ian Johnson is also here. And could I ask my fellow executive board members and council staff members that are in attendance to please rise and be recognized as well. Come on, staff members. And Jim, please stay standing. So our Council Good Scout Dinner Staff Advisor, Jim Corcoran, thank you. And I would be remiss, and the committee would get all over me if I didn't thank Carlene Cavino, who unfortunately for us, but fortunately for the chamber, left us in the middle of our Good Scout planning for a new job. But Carlene, thank you for all you've done and for staying with us and helping us. Okay, this is going to be my night for going off script again, but we planned something special, and I'm going to blame it on Karen Henderson over here. But anyways, we have several past honorees of the Good Scout Award in the audience tonight. And it's always special to have them come back year after year and celebrate the new recipients of the Westborough Good Scout Award. So this evening, something we've never done before, but I'm going to ask that each of you in attendance, as I call your name, if you can kind of come to the front here, we're going to try to get a picture of all of our Good Scout Award honorees, present and past, to get a picture. And of course, that comes from someone who runs Westborough TV. So not all of them are here, but I am going to recite the full list of past recipients. So in 2021, Maureen Johnson, stop talking, and Ian Johnson. 2020, as you remember, we did actually, because of COVID, we did a salute to scouting in Westborough that was run by Karen and her tremendous staff and really brought back past recipients, but we did not have any honorees in 2020. But in 2019, we had Todd Alexander and Charlotte Spinney. Todd, come up. In 2018, Al Gordon and Judy Wilczynski. 2017, Deborah Penta. Please come forward. We're doing a picture. Come on, Deborah. 2016, Joe Harrington. Nope. Joe, if you and Al can come forward, we're going to do a picture up here. So. Sorry, 2015 was the Honorable John S. McCann. 2014, Peter Gardner. 2013, Lester Hensley. 2012, Ryan Maloney. 2011, Rod Janae. 2010, Jack Wilson. 2009, Herbert Alexander. 2008, Nelson Ball. 2007, Christina Nielsen Allen. 2006, Jim Harvey. 2005, Lydia Goldblatt. 2004, Dr. Robert Klugman. 2003, Jim Tajan. 2002, Henry Danis and Charlotte Bramlin. 2000. And our first recipient, 2001, John Hero. And this year's coming up, please. Now I broke the mic, so I apologize. So thank you all for letting me go a little bit off script there, but I just think it's again, just a tremendous event that again started in 2001, and to be able to recognize such outstanding citizens and scouters here in Westborough, to have you all come back. So thank you very much for all being here once again. They told me this script to leave applause. And Jeff, I apologize, I really do think I broke the mic here. But, so at this time, anyways, you've had enough of me, so I would like to introduce Jeff Spofford, who will be serving as our Master of Ceremonies for the remainder of the evening.
Thank you, Ian. Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for being here. I especially want to thank the Henderson family and the Bock family for getting their wives and mothers here on time. Because as I've had a chance this week to get to talk to Neil and Scott, Amber and Karen, what the common theme I heard right from the beginning was that these are two women who are notoriously late for everything. These are people that have schedules that bind them to times at shows and school. But I understand from Neil that the Bock family has Amber time, the time they wait for Amber to be ready. And over at the Henderson household, Scott Henderson went so far as to write a song that he'll play on his guitar called Hokey Wife, while the Henderson family waits for Karen to come in. So thank you to the Bocks and the Hendersons for making sure that their honorees were both here. Well, it gives me great pleasure once again to introduce Eagle Scout Jack Bedar from Troop 382 of Westborough, who will share with us his own thoughts on scouting and how it has prepared for his life's journey. Jack.
Good evening. I am Jack Bedar, an Eagle Scout in Troop 382 and a senior at Westborough High School. In addition to scouting, I am the current president of the National Honor Society, a member of the Student Council and swim team, and I serve as the president of my BBYO Jewish Youth Group. I am so happy to be here with you tonight at this special event honoring Mrs. Henderson and Mrs. Bock. Scouting prepares kids today to be leaders tomorrow. For me, one of the most important factors in becoming a leader is a commitment to active participation in the community you serve. Through scouting, I've gone on dozens of trips and had new experiences I wouldn't have otherwise had. My first trip as a Boy Scout was to the gun stops, ropes course, and zip lines. After experiencing the thrill of the lower ropes course, I had a decision to make. I could sit back and watch everyone else try the upper ropes course, or I could overcome my nerves and give it a shot. Ultimately, I faced my fears and continued on to the upper, much more challenging ropes course levels. For me, scouting opportunities like Gunstock have taught me that participating in activities is better than spectating. I'm known throughout Westborough High School for possessing and demonstrating a keen amount of school spirit, and I'm told that you can usually hear me before you can see me. Being a leader means taking action and not sitting out. I've seen Mrs. Henderson demonstrate this quality a lot, both personally and professionally. As a close friend of her son Brady, I've spent a lot of happy times at the Hendersons' home, and have seen Mrs. Henderson's kindness and willingness to participate firsthand. For example, I remember her introducing new families to her friends to help them settle into Westborough. Professionally, it's clear to anyone who watches Mrs. Henderson that she goes above and beyond in her role with Westborough TV. As a constant presence at numerous school, sporting, and town government events, she is part of the very fabric of our Westborough community. Her presence at an event makes it seem official and important. At tonight's Good Scout dinner, it's nice to remember that my first trip to the Westborough TV offices when I was a young Cub Scout, and Mrs. Henderson helped us complete our media activity by filming a public service announcement. Hopefully that video no longer exists. But I think it's special and really cool that Mrs. Henderson led one of my first official scouting activities and is now receiving an award at one of my last. It's certainly a credit to her long-term commitment to our community and to scouting. Another scouting event I participated in makes me really appreciate everything Mrs. Bock does for Westborough. For my Eagle Scout project, I led the construction of 4 bog bridges and the extension of a bridge at one of the creeks on the Charm Bracelet Trail near Veterans Park. Before I even started, I had a lot of behind-the-scenes work planning to do. When a stranger looks at my Eagle project, I don't think they would realize all the hard work and planning I had to do before the bridges were even put into place. For example, in addition to ordering, measuring, cutting, and treating all of the wood planks, I needed to coordinate with representatives from the Land Trust, the DPW, and the Board of Selectmen, just to get a chain unlocked. Watching Mrs. Bock in action, it's clear that the same thing happens when it comes to running the Westborough Public School system. Going to the high school every day, I don't ever really think about all the behind-the-scenes work necessary to run the school, never mind the 6 other schools in the district that Mrs. Bock has to make sure are running smoothly. The fact that most other students probably don't think about all the behind-the-scenes work is a testament to how well she does her job. Like Mrs. Henderson, though, the reason we are here tonight is because Mrs. Bock goes above and beyond when it comes to serving our community. Her role in helping launch, promote, and support the Sugar Shack is evidence of Mrs. Bock's commitment to making a long-term positive impact on our town and the lives of the students who work there. One of the best parts of my Eagle Scout project was the day we finished the bog bridges. As we were setting up, a family came by walking their dog. They squelched through the mud and were excited to learn about my project. Later that morning, they returned from their hike just as we were finishing. They became the first official town members to walk across my bridge. We all cheered and they were so happy to avoid the mud. I felt a great sense of pride and accomplishment in that moment, and I hope Mrs. Henderson and Mrs. Bock feel that way tonight, as they should. Scouting has given me the platform, confidence, and skills to interact with town and community leaders I may not have otherwise experienced. For example, how many other high school students can say that they text with Mrs. Bock? Learning the importance of active participation is one of the best ways to practice everything scouting teaches us. It isn't always easy. Take it from me. My college applications were all due the same time I was working on this speech, but it's the right thing to do. I'm honored to have been asked tonight to speak because Mrs. Henderson and Mrs. Bock embody this scouting spirit. As I age out of Boy Scouts later this month, I will take with me a solid foundation as an engaged leader in my community, thanks to role models like Mrs. Henderson and Mrs. Bock. Thank you and congratulations to Mrs. Henderson and Mrs. Bock.
The question, Jack, is do you text Mrs. Bock when you want a snow day? Okay. Jack, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Your insight and your perspective on what scouting has meant to you can be an inspiration to us all. The leadership qualities that you have continued to master in scouting are so critical to our success in building a great community and a great nation. I'm confident you will have a positive impact on the lives of those people you come in contact with for many years to come. And on behalf of the Mayflower Council, we would like to present you with a small token of our appreciation for being here tonight and caution you not to open this in the presence of any law enforcement officers here today. Well, it's now time to move into our awards portion of the event. Will the Scouts please escort Amber and Karen to the stage? Karen, don't hurt his arm. No, he can't call you for snow days?
No. I don't
The Good Scout Award is presented to individuals who have exemplified themselves through outstanding community leadership and concerns for the welfare of others, are recognized by their peers as having achieved an exceptional level of accomplishment in their chosen field, and are considered to be true role models for not only scouting, but for all youth. This is where I get to go off script. I can't imagine more ideal candidates for the award of the Good Scout here in Westborough. These are two individuals, Karen Henderson and Amber Bock, who share many values and beliefs. They come from observing their own parents and their families give through way of community service and learn through their parents and their families as what it means to be out there and do good for the community. Amber told me she remembers her mother, Barbara Rollins, as a Cub Scout leader, planning troop activities for her brother, Ron. Amber remembers that Barb and Ron Rollins, her parents, were the recipients of the Oberlinian of the Year Award for community service as a couple. And I'm wondering if this could be the Westboronian Award for Good Scouts. When I asked Sarah DeLay to tell me a little bit about what she thought of when she thinks of Amber, Sarah, a former school committee member, former school committee chair, Sarah's first things she responded were of Amber's love for her family, for her siblings, and for her parents, and especially her mother during the time that her mother was ill during COVID. I know that Amber shares this award today with her parents in her heart. Now, early on in Karen's life, her parents, Linda and John McGuire, set great examples for her. Linda and John McGuire are here tonight at the Henderson family table, so I'd like to hear a round of applause for that. Karen tells me she recalls her mother as a Girl Scout leader and also as an active volunteer and activist of some type when she put together a postcard drive to try to get the school budget passed in town and had piles of postcards and address labels and stamps all throughout the McGuire family room. Her parents were involved and have been involved for 30 years with the church, Meals on Wheels, Friendly Visits to Home, and Charlie's Closet, a nonprofit that helps people with medical devices who may need them at home so they can come back from the hospital or exist at home without having to go to the hospital. And Karen tells me that you can find her dad, John, age 80, out at the barn where you can get those equipment, still removing the equipment, putting it in his Ford F-150, and taking it to homes today. That's the type of modeling of community service that bring us Karen Henderson and bring us Amber Bock. It's that modeling of community service that so many of our past recipients have shown here in this wonderful community of Westborough. The Spofford family met the Bock family in 1999 at preschool, Miss Tanya's, when young Kevin, sitting right here, Amber's son Kevin, and our daughter Sabina went to Miss Tanya's. And we got to know the Bocks. We thought and said, Juliana and I, wouldn't it be great someday if Amber could bring her talent and education to Westborough? This was back in the early 2000s. Now, little did we know already that Amber's educational skills had been impactful. As a 4th grade teacher in Newton in 1994, her children, Kevin and Sarah, will tell you that she was the person who propelled John Krasinski on to fame in the show The Office, and now it has Jack Ryan on Netflix, that was all Amber. In 2004, the Spoffords met the Hendersons. Where, you might ask? Anybody? At Miss Tanya's, when Miles and Sabina, and Miles and Helena, our youngest, were preschool students. The community of Westborough comes together in varying ways, or the same ways. Now, Karen, you might know, and you might notice that I'm not reading from the resumes and the accomplishments that are printed in the books, because you can read them yourself. But Karen was elected to 2 terms as a school committee member here in Westborough from 2006 to 2012, and twice served as the committee chair. But Karen was elected by accident. Karen had an issue that she wanted to address with the board of the select board. And she went in to see Sue Abladian. And when she started to address this issue, Sue Abladian sort of went blank and sad. And Karen said, "What's the matter?" She said, "Well, I thought you were here for something else. I thought you might be running for school committee." And Karen, seeing like maybe I should do something to get her on my side for the select board issue, said, "What do I need to do?" And she said, "Well, you need to take out papers." Karen took out papers, not thinking much about it, except the next night when she showed up at the select board, and the entire board was thrilled that she was running, because everyone knows what's happening in Westborough. Karen was on the ballot, and Karen was elected, and she was terrific. She was an outstanding select board, or an outstanding school committee chair. Now, being the chair of the school committee doesn't come without its danger. You're part of the attention when media gets involved, and when there were serious, nasty contract negotiations ongoing with the teachers, the media came to town. There was noise outside the Henderson Parkman house, and Miles went to the window upstairs and looked out and said, "Mom, there's a man in the front yard." And Karen went and looked out and immediately turned off the lights, yelled to everybody, "Duck, get below the windows." And Jorge Quiroga from Channel 5 and the news truck were outside. And she knew how to deal with the media. Now, while Karen was on the school committee, Amber was the assistant superintendent in Weston, one of those W towns. She'd also been the principal in Wellesley, another W town. And we in Westborough are the real W town. We sucked her back here. But during the Weston and Wellesley times, Amber put in a lot of time, as she does here. But she tells me she only puts in a lot of time here because she's slow and doesn't get things done very fast. That's what she tells me during our meeting. Now, when she was in Weston and Wellesley, the family didn't see enough of her. So Neil would take the family and they'd go to dinner at a restaurant. They'd meet Amber somewhere in the middle. And they wanted to, as they already have tonight, okay? I was at the table, I'm sitting there, and Kevin went and got Amber her Chardonnay. She will need at the end of the talking tonight, maybe during some of my talking. The family would order that. That was all great. That was a really nice family thing. Amber could come and order her meal. It was all great until kindergarten, when Sarah, sitting there in her classroom, and the teacher's going around asking the little kids, what would you like to drink? And Sarah says, I'll have a Chardonnay. And the teacher had a conversation with Amber after that. Now in 2013, Karen Henderson was appointed by the select board to finish out a one-year part of someone's term on the school committee. What did she do in that 1 year? She hired Amber Bock as the superintendent, and she did. Could it get any better than to honor both of them, right? 9 years later. Karen said when she saw the resume, out of 80 of them, 80 resumes, 80 cover letters, what she saw was somebody pretty spectacular, and she didn't know Amber Bock. Now, Amber was hesitant about accepting this huge leadership role in her own town. It brings a lot of attention, to her and to her family sometimes. It was a family decision. She talked to the kids and she talked with Neil, and they made the decision she was going to do it. And after she submitted, and after she went through interviews and was named the finalist, her father was very ill and was dying in a hospital in Ohio. Amber traveled back to Ohio to be with her dad the day before the site interview for her role as school committee as a finalist. Her dad said to her in the hospital, honey, are you going to get the position? And she said, Dad, I'm going to get it. She left the hospital. She drove back from Ohio. She interviewed on the day her father passed away, and she got that position. And I think we all know her father would be extraordinarily proud of Amber today and of every day she's been leading us here in Westborough. Now, the superintendent affects the community every day. And in talking with Amber, sometimes it was hard to pull things out from her about her activities because she tries to separate job from service. Except her service in her job has a direct impact on our community, as Jack so eloquently said. Now, Amber is committed not only to the school and to the youth here in Westborough through that, but also to the community and especially through Westborough Connects, of which she's very, very passionate. Westborough Connects is an organization that pulls together the businesses, the leaders, the agencies, the interfaith council, the organizations in Westborough to bring them together as a cohesive unit and keep the community of Westborough together. What else in town, you might ask, has that level of connection with the community? Westborough TV, right? What else gets out there to the community, brings things together? Westborough TV. Karen has been the general manager of Westborough TV since 2014. And in addition to overseeing the production of quality television, programming, overseeing her staff, she's also a leader and a mentor to students, as you heard from Jack, who mentioned his Cub Scout troop going in to see Westborough TV. Karen is a regular presenter in the Westborough High School journalism class. I had the chance today to speak to a young lady named Rachel Fredman, a graduate of the Westborough High School, who Karen actually connected with me when I was doing something for the Worcester County Bar Association. And Rachel was a standout student who worked with Karen at Westborough TV. And Rachel has this incredible memories of Karen being like a teacher, welcoming students into the studio, not just her, but the entire classes, giving them opportunities to try to edit, to try to do things that other people may not get. But Karen Henderson puts herself out there to do that. And Rachel said to me, what she thinks of with Karen is that it's special to have a community figure so involved and so caring. And that's Karen Henderson. Where do you find Karen Henderson? Look for a video camera, look for a tripod at any Westborough event, and behind that you'll find this shock of long blonde hair and Karen's face attached to that right behind the camera. You find her at Westborough volleyball, tracking them around the state. You can find her at the football games, up on top of the media tower. You find her at town meeting. You find Karen Henderson everywhere. I'm dying to see what the job description is for the general manager of Westborough TV, because I'm not sure that's included, okay? Now, being a member of Westborough TV like Karen is not without risk. And I know I said that with respect to the school committee, but this is actually physical risk, all right? On one occasion, Karen was with a class that she and Tim Novak, her studio manager, were leading. Tim Novak, if you've ever seen any of the drone photography and drone video, Tim's done that work. So they're outside, this class of kids and Karen and Tim, and they're going to do a scene from North by Northwest. Now, I had to look up the scene today, okay? And you can find it. In this scene, Cary Grant is pushed out of a car and left in this dusty road in the middle of nowhere. And he gets up, and of course, he gets the suit all ready, because you need to have it ready in the West. And this plane starts coming towards him, this biplane. And Cary Grant ducks, and the biplane goes over him. And the next time he comes at him, he runs. Well, Tim should have told Karen what the scene was like. Because when the plane came at Karen, she assumed he would steer it off to the right or the left. And what she tells me is the scar is up here, and there's a little dent in the forehead where that drone took her out. So being part of Westborough TV can be somewhat dangerous. Now, Karen and Amber, as we know, are both responsible for communication. And in the communication for a superintendent, as we joked with Jack, it's that communication about snow days. The communication where children will smile and parents will groan, right? And you may think that Amber takes that responsibility on her own, shoulders the load, but not entirely. At 3 o'clock in the morning, it's Neil Bock who's sent out in the front of the house in his slippers with a ruler to measure the depth of the snow. Amber says she has to work the phones. Okay? But Neil, it's a family affair.
Sounds like Jack needs to get Neil's number.
So, when I talk to my daughter Helena, what do you think about when you think about Mrs. Bock? She said in her junior year, she's now a fourth year at Northeastern, the school was doing Urinetown as the musical. And just before Tech Week, we got hit by a huge snowstorm, closed the school. The cast found a place to rehearse, but they were nervous. They got back into the school, and they asked Alison Greer-Espinoza, the really wonderful music director, what do you think, are we going to have the show? And she said, Mrs. Bock, guaranteed, we're going to open. And if it takes her pulling the curtains back herself, we're going to have a show. Amber Bock had the kids back. They knew it. She was a supporter of every aspect of things they did. And I know that one of the things I think was unique for her as a superintendent was a trip to Williamsburg, Virginia, and a trip to Toronto, Ontario, that we did chaperoning the students. And I'm not sure how many superintendents do that. I'm also not sure how many superintendents can be found shoveling the snow off a football field to make sure the Thanksgiving Day game can go on. But you'll find Amber Bock doing that. That was a little crazy, that's right. Now, Karen has this undying commitment to students and to the youth. We've already seen that through school committee. Karen was also a member of the Armstrong parent group, the president of the Mill Pond parent group, the president of the Gibbons parents group. There is no parents group in the high school, and Miss Tanya is still trying to figure out whether to start a parents group, and Karen may return. In addition, Karen would go to Armstrong, where she read weekly to the students, the first and second graders. Okay. You're not having one of those migraines, right? Okay, good. Because she went into school one day having a migraine, which wasn't a good idea. And she had the little first graders read to her instead. And she'd have them read it, and then she'd say, Timmy, excuse me, Mrs. Henderson has to go take a little break. She'd go to the bathroom, and she wasn't feeling so good, right? And that happened repeatedly. And then she went to the second grade in the second hour, and that room was near the cafeteria, where the odors of the food came through, and it sped up to every 10 minutes of Mrs. Henderson has to go. And then that same day, she took her daughter Callie's brownie troop into Worcester to go to a museum, and on the way back, you remember, I can see you remember this, okay. I don't even know who did. She remembers, all right? Because on the way back, an ambulance went by with the flashing lights, and that's not good for migraines. And Karen found a little bag on the side, right there, and she thought to herself, damn, I'm good. And that was her words, okay? The modeling of behavior, of community service behavior, of generosity to the community, which we know started with the parents from each and the families of each, we've seen passing down, okay? When you see these tall red-headed kids, or you've seen them going around the town watering the plants. Downtown, we've got 24 to 30 potted, beautiful plants that need water. That's been the Hendersons' responsibility since 2017. And that's a community service passed down through the Henderson parents for their kids. Miles Henderson, who's here with the red hair, pick him out, okay? Miles wrote his college essay about that level of community service. Brady, I'm told, used to have headphones on when he would do it. And people would ask him questions, and you know what he realized? He liked talking to people around town. Because around town, people are good, and it's fun to talk to people. So that modeling of community service, I think that's been so important. It came from the McGuires and it came from the Rollinses, has been outstanding. And in the scouting world, Kevin Bock is an Eagle Scout. Kevin has done it all. And we thank and recognize Kevin for everything he's done in scouting. Now, when I talked to Karen and Amber, we spent a couple hours on my back porch the other night after I had a couple hours with Scott and Neil at Westborough House of Pizza and maybe a Mai Tai from Dave, which is always nice. One of the things that Amber and Karen both downplay is what they do. And they said to me, you know, it's the little things you do in service, not the big things. And it led into a conversation about a cupcake. A cupcake's about as little a cake as you can get. All right? We all agree on that. And it led from a small discussion about a cupcake into what I thought was an amazing discussion about community service. In that, when COVID hit in March of 2020, and everything started to shut down, there were kids in Westborough who relied on the breakfasts provided by the school system, the lunches provided by the school system, and the school system had to keep providing those lunches. And Amber Bock was in the schools making sure that happened, working with staff members, working with people in the cafeteria. And then the food pantry shut down. And there were families in Westborough that needed help. And Amber Bock, with other volunteers, including the Henderson family, started rallying and helping more than 50 families and more than 120 individuals in need of assistance on a regular basis. They got donations. They shopped for food. They brought it all over to Gibbons, where they boxed it all. And Sarah Bock, that's kind of an ironic twist there, but Sarah Bock was a little frustrated because she's organized. So Sarah Bock took it all and made an Excel sheet with all the people that needed stuff and what they needed and how much would you need. And they had boxes set out. They filled all the boxes. And then Sarah had also made a list of where things had to be delivered. She made routes. And from March until September, Amber, and Kevin, and Sarah, and the Bocks, and the Hendersons and other valuable volunteers here in Westborough delivered meals and toilet paper and other things that were needed by people in need during a period of desperation. When Amber, during COVID, had her mother get very ill, and she and her siblings went out to Ohio to be with their mother as she was dying. She was upstairs in a room that she used as an office, and she got a call from one of these people that relied on the donations and the food. And this woman wanted a cupcake. The conversation, this is where it began, this cupcake. And Amber called Kevin and said, Kevin, little Miss Smith in this apartment building wants a cupcake. Kevin got out there and got her that cupcake. And they kept providing food and essentials for 4 months. And this is the thing that this took me 2 hours to get this out of them, because Karen and Amber, neither of them believe that that's exceptional. That's just what we do in Westborough. That's just what we do if you're a Henderson or a McGuire. That's what you do when you're Amber Bock. That's what you do if you're Amber's parents and Amber's mother's there. It was outstanding leadership. Now, when I talked to Chief Gordon, I texted with him, tell me something you think about when you think about Amber Bock. And he said, it's that compassion. It's that compassion for kids who are on the bubble, watching out for them. And what I've always found, and I think a lot of people, when we talked about it, it's these students, as she termed, the students who have unique learning abilities and who are in need of additional education until they're 22 years old. And when Amber came in as the superintendent, those students were being educated out of district. And then Amber, together with Sherry Stevens, who's seated here next to Neil, she's the Director of Student Services in Westborough. They came together and forged a partnership, and they created a program called the Borough Program, the Sugar Shack, where these students who are being educated from 18 to 22, who have special learning needs, can learn about retail, can learn about working in a store, can learn about working with customers. Out of the educational area of a high school or whatever educational school, but they're being educated. We know that. And that was a brainchild, really, of Sherry Stevens, and worked on in full earnest with Amber Bock. Karen Henderson and Amber Bock exemplify what is meant by outstanding community leadership and concern for the welfare of others in every respect. They have achieved an exceptional level of success in their fields, and they're role models for all of the youth in our community at a time when good, positive role models are so important. And at this time, I would like to ask Shelby Marshall to come forward to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I will keep this brief because I've been instructed to do so. Karen and Amber, today you join a list of past honorees whose contributions to our community are treasured and which nurture our present experiences. As recipients of this year's Good Scout Award, you follow in the footsteps of amazing individuals who have demonstrated integrity and concern for others, and through their actions have made Westborough a better place. You have earned this moment and your place on the stage. Set aside your humility for a moment and the residual effects of Jeff's remarks and soak it in. In times of uncertainty, Mr. Rogers' mother told him, look for the helpers you will always find people who are helping. You two are not only the helpers, you are the doers. You never hesitate to lend your support to others, and when needed, you lead. You are passionate about elevating others, helping them to realize their potential by encouraging them, giving them a hand, or by cheering them on, often from behind the scenes or the camera. We know you haven't done this alone. Neil, Kevin, Sarah, Scott, Miles, Callie, Theo, Brady, and of course, Gordy and Daisy. Thank you for sharing these incredible women with us. Their work is not without your sacrifice and willingness to share. Through your individual unique styles, positivity, resilience, honesty, and accountability, you exemplify the ideals of leadership and service to others. We celebrate and recognize you as empathetic, creative, innovative, trustworthy, and humble leaders. I am so proud to know these two amazing women. Their love for this community and commitment to it and to its people serves as an inspiration to all of us. I'm honored to know them, to work with them, to be mentored by them, to call them friends, and to present them with the 2022 Good Scout Award. Congratulations.
Wow, that's like so cool. Citations, awards, that's a lot. I know, I'm gonna put this right here, Karen, let's see bookmark. Okay, you're good. Oh, okay, this is a lot, okay. I know, this is a lot, yeah, that's good. It's like, I know. Okay, I'm sure, yeah, sure. Ah, we're good. Look at us, bookends. Okay. All right, friends. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you know, come down here. This takes a lot to organize stuff like this. All right, I'm going to get you set here, friend. You go. Put your stuff there. I got my stuff. Still there, right? Okay, we're up.
I am deeply honored and grateful to receive this award with Amber. I am going to try to keep my comments brief, although for everyone who knows me, and that's a lot of you, brevity is not really a strong suit. And I'm actually glad that in the Scout Oath that succinct or quiet is not on the list, or I would not be here getting this award. I'm going to turn it over to Amber.
Oh my gosh, so we decided that we really weren't sure we could do this, and then we got it and we're like, this is fun, let's do a doubleheader next year. Like, this is cool, our friends are here, we're seeing all these people, and then we kind of relaxed, and we were a little afraid about what Jeff would say, so I'm feeling much better now. I'm kind of leaning into the moment. It is indeed incredibly humbling for both of us to be recognized among this incredible group of people. And these are so often the people that I call for guidance, that I'm calling Lydia, I'm calling Lester, I'm calling Karen. Like, these are the people that make leadership possible, and it just means so much to be here with you. I believe so much it's what makes Westborough special, and for both Karen and I, it begins with a whole list of thank yous.
So I'll start with a thank you to the Mayflower Council and the Good Scout Committee for all the time and energy that they put into this wonderful evening and pulling it together. I think it's been said before, but for me, it's just one of my favorite evenings of the year. I'm usually on the other side of the camera. Sometimes I sit at the table, but I always leave feeling so inspired and that I could do even more. And so I love this night, I love this evening, and thank you to the Mayflower Council and the Good Scout Committee. I'd like to give a big thanks to all the scouts that were here this evening. You guys did a great job, and thanks for that participation. And to Jack Bedar, who's Jack? There he is. All right, Jack. Just what a great spokesman for scouting, and so mature. I met Jack when he was just little, maybe at Armstrong, right at the beginning in kindergarten. He still got that kind of infectious smile and super positive personality, and it was really special to us for you to be here tonight, and can't wait to see what you do in the future, Jack.
I get to give a big thank you to Ian and to Jeff and to Shelby for the amazing range of comments that you shared about both of us. The three of you are special to us, to both of us, which with Karen and I, it felt really meaningful to be able to center on a shared group of friends because we were sharing the award. And we settled on a perfect set of people that we think capture unique aspects of our personalities and our work in the community. And I just really want you to know how much it meant to us to have you speak on our behalf. So thank you so much, and it was very humbling.
From the two of us, thank the town and state officials, public servants, community volunteers, and scouting volunteers who joined us tonight. Amber and I have worked with or volunteered with almost all of you through the years, and we're proud to count you as friends. You all help to make this town a warm, welcoming, and active community, and one in which we're proud to call home.
More you keep going.
I know. I told you I'm not brief. So I do want to just take a moment and recognize my parents, John and Linda McGuire, my sister, Susan McGuire Elda, brother Brian McGuire, my in-laws, Joan and John Henderson, who all made a trip today from Connecticut and New Hampshire to be here, and have always made service to others a priority through their talent, time, and treasure. It's really a cornerstone of your personal and professional lives. I love you. I actually meant to say thanks for your love and support, and for being an inspiration to me and to my kids. Which brings me to my High Street family. Miles is home for the night from Tufts. Hope you don't have anything major going on tomorrow. He said he didn't, but you know these kids. Callie, who's away at Northeastern and is actually in Greece right now, couldn't be with us. Why she didn't fly home from Greece. Theo off at Ohio State, and Brady, who's really the only thing standing between us and an empty nest. So get those college applications in. I just am so proud of and love you kids so much. You know that. A wise woman, I know. Often told her kids while they were growing up, the world always needs good people to make good things happen. I want you guys to look around this room because here are those good people. And to Scott, I'm incredibly thankful for our amazing life together. It all started 35 years ago when, like a good scout, you helped me open my mailbox on the first day of college, and we haven't looked back.
You say nicer things. I always forget to thank Neil, and he's like my superpower. And so she started writing all this nice stuff about Scott. I was like, oh, I read her comments. I was like, oh, I gotta remember to actually talk about Neil. He is my secret weapon because he thinks I'm wonderful. And I would never do anything I've done without him being like, of course you're gonna do that job. Of course you're gonna apply for this. Why don't you want to be a principal? Of course you need to be a principal. He's just always been the person who thinks I'm wonderful, and that's why I married him. Any of you waiting to find someone to marry, you gotta marry someone who thinks you're wonderful. And he keeps me so centered, and he is the person who keeps me together. And it's all invisible because he's very behind the scenes. My husband and I both, we are Midwesterners. So this community, these people around here, you actually are our family. Like our family isn't here tonight because you're it. And they love me, they're great, it's not like they're bad, but they live far, far away. And so our church family, many of you are here, our wonderful neighbors, our friends who've been our Thanksgiving partners and everything we do, New Year's, everything, our family time, my work family, many of you are here. You spend most of your time with people at work, actually. I mean, I spend more time with Sherry than you are. So, you know, it's just part of it. And you just mean so much to me. We've raised two amazing kids here, and they are this beautiful mix of East Coast and kind of Midwest persona. They tease me for talking to people I don't know, and I'm proud to pass it on to them. Kevin, my Eagle Scout, is here, and Sarah is sending best wishes from North Carolina. She sent flowers, so Kevin, she got one on you. Like he bought me my Chardonnay, so they are really grounded. They are seeing the love of extended family from Ohio and Michigan, while also seeing that friends are family, and that's amazing.
So I know it's seeming hard to believe, but this night isn't really about me and to Amber. We've both been a little uncomfortable with that limelight, but what it is about is celebrating community engagement, celebrating service to others, and about passing that value and habit on to the next generation. That's something that Amber and I will own, that we both take active, engaged participation in our community seriously, that it's something we hold near and dear to our hearts, and is really at the core of who we are as people. We believe it's something that can be taught, and have tried to pass that along, or actually train our own children and others in our sphere of influence to incorporate into their lives for the betterment of us all. So trying to pass on some inspirational words about the importance of community service in front of a room full of scouts, many good scouts, and people who do this on a regular basis seems a little bit like lecturing to the experts. So instead, I'll just applaud all of you for the work you've done to contribute to our youth and our community, and suggest that we take from tonight a recommitment to model dedication to and compassion for others, and to live by the behaviors that the Good Scout Award represents. Thank you.
I would echo all of Karen's reflective comments. My own parents modeled the importance and expectation of giving back. While the Rollins family could often be found in the kitchen doing dishes at church, our favorite spot, my parents didn't sign us up, but we learned by osmosis because they were always signing up. They were always there, and we learned to follow. All of us here this evening, the wider community, the world today, we are moving so incredibly fast. We are so busy. Imagine the calendars of the people in this room. I know mine's crazy. I know yours is as well. But at the same time, I truly believe we can each do one thing. If the power of one contribution becomes what we're able to do, I want you to leave here tonight knowing that. For many of my friends, you know that I'm always either laughing or apologizing for cutting it too close, trying to push too much into my day. Every birthday party I planned was like the last 5 minutes. But we've had such a good life because you can do one thing. A sign-up sheet has always lured me in. I don't know. There's just something attractive about it. I see it, and I look at it, and I always watched my mom sign up, and my dad was always on a committee. And I just see that sign-up sheet, and my hand just goes. Neil was like, he'll walk by, and he's like, what are you doing? The strength and warmth of this community is really centered on volunteers. Here tonight, you really represent this amazing mix of talented employees and Westborough people who contribute. A well-run town and a caring community that exudes this sense of identity and vibrancy is always a mix of both groups working in collaboration. I have tremendous colleagues on the town, and I work with Christy, I've seen her here tonight. Karen and I have the gift of actually belonging to both. We're employees and wild volunteer community members at the same time. And we believe that Westborough is one of those special places with this warmth and caring because of all of you. For us, receiving this award is to honor Westborough. For me this evening, with all of the good scouts being here, as Karen just said, is always about remembering a call to action, the challenge that all of us feel when you look around the room and know what these people here do, to do one more thing. Last year, to give Ian and Maureen this award, you had to leave feeling like you had to sign up on a list because they are on everything. And half the time the committees are Maureen's and you have to sign up. We can each go and we can bring one person along with us, and you include them and you train them to give back because it connects them to our town and it shows them that they can be connected to Westborough people. Bring a friend, do one thing, model how to sign them up. Tonight is always my inspiration. I leave here definitely feeling like I gotta do more. Kindness, service, caring, contribution, those are words that are worthy of the work. I want to thank all of you for honoring us. It is really humbling. We actually did have fun. We were like kind of dreading it, and I have to say it's very nice. I feel immensely honored to work for and with all of you. Thank you so much, and we want to congratulate you as well as us for working for Westborough. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen and Amber, and Charlotte Bramley will join us for final words.
I just have a benediction, folks. Dear Lord, thank you for this wonderful evening, an opportunity to honor those that have done such great things to our community. Send us on our way to continue to honor you as we do our best to do good things. And the Lord bless you and keep you. And may his grace shine upon you and give you peace forevermore. Amen.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
our lives.